Hello students, my name is Miss Reuter and normally I'm an EL teacher at Cora Kelly, but today I'm going to be teaching you from your television set. So stick with me for the next half hour. We're going to be doing reading, writing, math, even a little bit of social studies and science. If you have your packets that were sent to you in the mail, go ahead and go get those out. If you have paper or pencil, or even if you don't, just stick with me. We're gonna get straight to work. And now it's time for some reading. Hello friends, I hope you can see me all right. It's very, very sunny. We're going to practice some of our letter sounds, and after we practice our letter sounds, we are going to practice blending them. I'm gonna hold up the card, and then we're gonna say the sound it makes. I want you to be practicing saying the sound at home while I'm saying it here. Let's get ready. A says ah. C says k. M says mm. H says h. R says T says t. U says G says g. B says b. O says ah. P says p. Now, the next three I'm going to show you are a little tricky because they're digraphs and blends, but we need them for the words that we're going to be reading later. So make sure that you're paying attention. SH says shh. ST says st. DR says dr. Let's try that one again because we have some trouble with that one. DR says dr. ST says st. SH says shh. Now we're going to practice some blending with these same letters that we just practiced, and we're going to do 3 different word families. So get ready to read. All right, students, now we're going to read some words, and we're going to start with this word family. At says at. Now let's change the beginning sound. K, at, cat. R, at, rat. At, hat. At, mat. At. Now we're going to do one with ugh. Ugh. Let's change those beginning sounds. R, ugh, rug. Ugh, hug. Ugh, mug. Bug, bug. Now we're going to work with OP. And remember, we have some digraphs and some blends that are coming up, so make sure you're paying attention and you're ready to read these words with me. Up, up. Up, mop. Up, top. Op, shop. St, op, stop. Dr, op, drop. Up. Great job. Hello friends, Miss Reuter here. I got my dinosaur dress on today and we're gonna practice some sight words. Now this is how it's gonna work. Your sight word is gonna show up down here. You're gonna read it if you know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, just wait because I'm gonna tell you. Let's get started practicing our sight words. Okay, get ready for your first word. Am. Next one. At. Can. Go. Is. Like. Me. See. The. To. Great job! That was our first try practicing our sight words. Did you get them? Now, I'm going to show you the sight words again, and it's your turn to practice on your own. Oh, hey guys, it's time for writing. If you have something to write with, go get it. Hello, children. Today, I'm going to give you an activity to do for writing. Now, since you're at home instead of at school, I want to let you know that you can use whatever you have at home. You can use blank computer paper. That's what I did when I made sheets. You can even use Post-it paper, small paper, anything you need. You can use pencils. You can use pens. You can use markers. You can use crayons. Use whatever you have. The type of writing we're going to do today are our how-to books. And this is what we do when we're telling somebody how to do something else. There's a lot of nonfiction books that are how-to books. That's like a cookbook that's telling you how to do something, or another book that's telling you how to sew, how to ski, how to make something. So you are going to tell me something that you know how to do. And since we've been at home for a long time, I bet there's things that you've had to do that you know how to do. Like how to make your bed, how to clean your room, how to feed the cat, how to braid your hair. There's a number of different things that you can do, but when you're doing it, I want you to try to remember you're giving someone instructions on how to do something. So I want you to try to use the words first, next, then, and last. In case you need an example, my daughter Callie made a how-to book on how to make a musubi. Musubi is a food that we used to eat a lot of when we lived in Hawaii. So watch Callie show you how to make a musubi, and then I want you to tell me something that you know how to do. I can't wait to hear from you.
I'm going to teach you how to make musubis. I was born in Hawaii and my mom ate these all the time. First, you need a musubi maker, rice, seaweed, and some kind of protein. You can use eggs or a type of meat. Next, put the mold on the seaweed and add the cooked ingredients. Then, push down the mold and carefully remove it. Last, wrap the seaweed around the musubi and enjoy. Not good.
Get ready for science! Hello, scientists. Today we are going to talk about motion. Motion. Can you say motion? Motion. Anything that's moving has motion. This slinky has motion. This globe has motion. This cat has motion. This girl has motion. I have motion. The ball has motion. All of those things were moving, so they all had motion. A force is something that changes the way something moves. Force. Can you say force? Force. When you make something move, you're using a force. I'm going to use a force to change the way that these dominoes move. There are two types of forces you need to know. The first is push. I'm pushing the stroller. When you push, you're pushing it away. Push. Can you say push? Push. You can push buttons, light switches. You can push computer keys. You can push a stroller, and you can push doors. Let's look at some more examples of pushing. The next kind of force is a pull. When you pull something toward. Pull. Can you say pull? Pull. You can pull a rope. You can pull a drawer open. You can pull a door handle. Let's look at some more examples of pulling. Okay, scientists, I hope that you learned something today about push, pull, force, and motion. See you next time. Oh, hello, scientists. Are you ready to learn more about motion? Last time we talked about two different types of force, push or pull. This time we're going to learn all about the different types of movement. Things can move in different ways. Let's start by talking about things that move straight or things that move back back and forth. Can you say straight? Straight. There are a lot of times that we move straight. When you walk in the hallway, you walk on a straight line on the second tile. This guy is gonna walk straight. When something's moving straight, it moves in a straight line. Let's look at some other examples of things that are moving straight. The next type of movement we're going to talk about is back and forth. Back and forth. Can you say back and forth? Back and forth. An easy way to think about back and forth motion is when you think about a swing. This is moving back and forth too. Let's look at some more examples of back and forth movement. That was pretty easy, straight and back and forth. The next type of movements that we're going to talk about is circular and spinning. Circular. Can you say circular? Circular. When something has a circular motion, it's moving in a big circle. Here's my Lego guy. He's gonna move in a big circle. Let's look at some more examples of a circular motion. The next type of movement we're going to talk about is spinning. Spinning. Can you say spinning? Spinning. You might think that circular is very similar to spinning, but they're still very different. When you're in a circular motion, you're making a big circle. When you're spinning, something is staying in the same place and it's just turning around where it is. Just like the globe is staying here, but it's spinning. That's what a spinning motion is. Let's look at some more examples of spinning. You did a great job today learning all about the different types of motion. I hope you had fun. See you next time. Now for a little bit of social studies. Hello students, here I have a very old map of Virginia, and today we're going to talk about a very important person in Virginia's history and the history of the United States. And that person is Pocahontas. You might hear that name and think about this movie, but that is not the real Pocahontas. I'm going to tell you about the real Pocahontas. When we talked about George Washington, the first president of the United States, we talked about how he was someone from the past, but when we talk about Pocahontas, we're talking about even further back in the past, a long time ago, before there even was a United States, back when Virginia was not even called Virginia, back even before Jamestown. Pocahontas was born to Powhatan. He was a Native American chief of the people who lived on the land that is now called Virginia. That makes her sort of like a princess because her father was an important and powerful person. He ruled over many tribes. The people and the chief were called Powhatans. They went fishing for food. They ate all different kinds of beans and corn, and they lived there for a long time. Now, Pocahontas was actually a nickname because her real name was Matoka. Pocahontas meant playful child or naughty one, and she got that nickname because she was always getting into things. When Pocahontas was 11 years old, English settlers came to the land that we now call Virginia and set up a colony called Jamestown. The people from England did not know the language that Pocahontas and her people spoke, so it was very difficult for them to communicate. Pocahontas was very bright and very curious and very smart, just like you. And so she learned how to speak English very quickly. This made it so that she could help the Powhatans and the English colonists speak to each other. This was one of her contributions. Say that word. Contribution. A contribution is a gift to the whole world, but it's not a gift like a present wrapped in wrapping paper. It is the gift of something you do. One of Pocahontas' contributions was that she helped English settlers communicate with the native people living in Virginia so the people from England at Jamestown could survive. It was freezing in the winter without their homes, and they were hungry because they didn't know how to grow food in Virginia. Pocahontas and her people helped feed them so that they could live. John Smith was one of the settlers that came from England to create the Jamestown colony. He made lots of maps, like this map right here, and kept a journal and drew pictures. A lot of what we know about Jamestown comes from the things he wrote. Pocahontas befriended him just like she did in the movie, but she was still a little girl when this happened in real life. One day, the chief, her father, captured him. It seemed like he might even kill him. But Pocahontas said wait and stayed between John Smith and her father. We don't know for sure if this was part of a ceremony or if John Smith's life was really in danger, but John Smith certainly felt like Pocahontas saved his life. When Pocahontas grew up, she married one of the settlers from England and had a little boy named Thomas. They traveled to England, and Pocahontas met the Queen and wore English clothes. But when she boarded a boat to come back to the United States of America, which then was not even called the United States of America yet, she got sick and died on the boat long before ever getting to come home. We still remember Pocahontas as one of our famous Virginians because of her contribution and because she was from Virginia. Now I want you to think of something that you remember about Pocahontas and tell me, what do you remember about Pocahontas? What were her contributions and where was she from? Hello friends, today we are going to talk about George Washington. This is a picture of George Washington. He lived a long time ago, and remember when we talked about Pocahontas and the Powhatans and Jamestown, we were talking about the past. Let's remember that word, past. Something that happened in the past happened a long time ago, and George Washington is from a long time ago, but we still remember him. He is very famous, and I am going to tell you why. George Washington was born in Virginia. Here's a map of Virginia, and you can see where he was born right here. And this is a picture of what his house might have looked like. We are learning about George Washington as part of our famous Virginians unit. So he is from Virginia and he was born here. But that's not why he's famous. He was famous because he fought in the Revolutionary War. And that was the war where the United States decided it was going to be its own country and not a colony of England. And because he was so important in that war, he ended up becoming the first president of the United States of America. That's the important thing I want you to remember about George Washington. George Washington was the first president of the United States of America. And because he was the first president, we remember him in a lot of different ways. You might even recognize him from a dollar bill. His picture is right there on the dollar bill. It is also right here on the quarter. We also name a lot of things after him, just like Washington, D.C. So once more, the thing I want you to remember is that George Washington was the first president of the United States, and he's from Virginia. Now that we talked a little bit about George Washington, I want you to respond by telling me one thing you know about George Washington. I hope you like math because we're about to do some. I wish that I could count backwards, counting backwards, counting backwards, counting back, counting back, counting back, counting back. You ready? 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Thank you so much for learning with me today. I hope that you got some good information that will help you with the rest of your day. Your teachers miss you so much, and I hope you're doing well at home. Remember to check in online with your teachers whenever you can, keep doing your packets, and tune into ACPS Channel 71 from 9 to 10:30 for teacher-led activities for 1st and 2nd grade, or start your day with us at 8 o'clock for exercise, educational programming, and more. I hope I see you next time. This was Miss Reuter. Bye. Have a great rest of your day.